Welcome everyone to today's live stream, episode 15 of our Baldur's Gate 3 Druid gameplay series. I'm Commander Jorval and I want to thank you for coming along on our journey today. So on an admin note, if you paid attention last week in the admin notes you saw that I mentioned some information about the trailer. Larian has released a lot more information about Baldur's Gate 3 and the city of Baldur's Gate specifically. So there's a very interesting video, which again you can go look at, all the other very talented content creators out there for an in-depth breakdown of that video. But it really shows you the breadth and depth of what we're going to be getting in the full version of the game. And trust me when I say it's looking very impressive with the city of Baldur's Gate. I really cannot wait to start exploring all three of the different connected areas of the city in depth. So can't wait. We're getting closer and closer every day, and I hope it gets here soon. So on a recap, last week was a very eventful live stream. We finished up with the Arcane Tower and the fight with Bernard, and then we headed over to the Myconid colony and picked up a few quests over there and interacted with the residents therein. And one of those residents was Sovereign Glut, the Myconid sovereign of a colony that was destroyed by the Duergar. And at the end of last episode, we had him revive the dead Bulette that we had our encounter with last week as well. So we have a very powerful ally on our team now. And as we jump in here, we now have to see some of the limitations of dealing with the Bulette as an ally of you, and that's why we're going to take this first part a little slow. And if we need to reload, we need to reload, because the Bulette and its movement can be a little strange. We'll just leave it at that. Especially getting through areas where you have peaceful NPCs. So we'll start off here and kind of maneuver our Bulette around. And this is kind of what I mean here. This location where we are at, the limitation that we have is that the Bulette is okay. It's not registering the Bulette over there. You can see from our mini-map where the Bulette is, though. So, we know what we're going to be getting into. And what we're going to be doing, first of all, is we're going to move our party down here outside of the area. The Bulette is not going to be able to follow us. The Bulette is trapped due to where it was killed. But we are going to move everybody out here around this direction, which is the direction that we're going to go. And we're going to put everybody in hiding. And now we're going to go back to the Bulette, which is here, and we can take the Bulette out of hiding. We don't need it to be hidden. And we want to very slowly try and make our way through here. Now, we want to do this by jumping. Well, let's see if we can. Yeah, see, the Bulette is unable to move up there. So we're going to try and move it up here. And you see it's going to do a deadly leap. And we want to try not to have it cause damage to any of the NPCs up here. Okay, so it's just a matter of getting the location exactly correct. Okay, so that worked out well. Okay, so he wants to go around this way, which is perfectly fine. Actually, this is the shortcut. This is a shorter way to get around, so we'll do it too.
Baelen, where are you?
And we'll maneuver out through here. And we're again going to have the Bulette leap down here. Okay. And now that we're all joined back up, we can bring everybody out of hiding. Okay. And let's see. I honestly can never remember this. And I asked this question, I believe, on my last live stream, whether or not I can
Have to keep going.
heal the Bulette.
Secure.
Yes, looks like I can. So we'll use a couple of first level spells here to heal him up. Okay, and now we have a couple of options. You can look at the mini-map and you can see that we have an option to head down this direction, which is going to take us down here toward this village or encampment. It can also lead around this way. And we also have, and just taking a moment to check out how beautiful the Sussar Tree area looks. It's just amazing. But we have another way that we can go, and that's around this way, which has an option to lead us down into here and farther around this way. You will actually end up coming back all the way around the Sussar Tree, back through here and back around this way, right back to where we are. So we're just going to follow out this direction because we need to go to the Sussar Tree first. And now the Bulette should be following along with us without any problems. Okay. Now what you want to be careful of is as the Bulette moves, and this is something that we'll have to watch as we go. As the Bulette moves, if it can't walk through a certain area, it will try and jump to get past that area. And in doing so, it will do its deadly leap. And it will leap right into the middle of your party. And that will obviously cause a lot of damage to you and your party as you go. So I tend to lead with the Bulette just to make sure that I'm getting the Bulette to go where I want it to go. So that's kind of why I'm leading out with the Bulette here, but then I can use everybody to kind of catch back up.
These things drain away one's magic.
Someone's marking their
Shouldn't linger here.
Okay, so we passed a couple of perception checks. First is the Sussar Tree here, and we already learned about the Sussar Tree bloom and how it can cause an anti-magic field to appear around you. So we do want to be very careful with where we go and how we maneuver around the Sussar Tree, and you'll see more of that coming up. But you can see that we have Sussar blooms that are around here, so you do want to be careful about where you're going here. The other thing we learned is that we passed a perception check about some claw marks, something marking its territory, and I'm going to move over here with Gale because we do have this deep hole, and you can click on it.
Looking into the hole, you see only darkness. It's impossible to tell how deep it goes by sight alone. Your call echoes as it plunges downward, before gradually fading away.
Okay, so there's something down there.
The hole offers only pitch black nothingness.
Okay, so we'll try one more time.
Offers only pitch black nothingness.
Okay, so nothing else down there. Same interactions. So I can't find anything that this is used for in early access. However, I'm sure that there is going to be some interaction that can be had there in the full version of the game. It's just not available to us right now and at this minute. So what we're going to do from here is we're going to clear out some of these bibberbang that are here simply by shooting them.
You picked the wrong fight, friend.
And we want to make sure that we get all of them. Okay, so just mousing around. Doesn't appear we have anything else. And you can see that for the next 33 turns, the fumes are going to remain. Now you can clear those out a lot quicker than 33 turns just by having Gale shoot his firebolt into it. That's going to explode the fumes. And at the same time, the downside to that is that it's also going to destroy things that are inside of this smoke cloud. So, like your toadstools and that sort of stuff, I don't know if the Sussar Bloom is close enough to be destroyed by it. But you need to be careful when doing this so that you don't destroy items and things like that. But here, not too worried about it. So we're just gonna knock them all. We're just gonna knock it all out. So okay, so it did leave the toadstool. But if you have some stuff like items on the ground or bags or chests or things like that, the flames will cause damage to that and possibly burn it up. So you do want to be careful when you're maneuvering around in these areas. And you're doing stuff like that with bibberbang. You're going to see more of that down here in this area where you can see there's obviously a lot of it. We're just not going to do that at this time. So now you definitely want to hide. And we're going to begin taking this a little slow. Moving our way through here. Because now you can see the detection cones. And we have hook horrors who are down here. Okay. So, looks like our... And this is what I was speaking of. This looks like our Bulette might be trapped. Yes. See, it can only move forward to there. So it's going to have to jump to get over here. Okay. So now we're going to utilize the Bulette here to start this combat. We might as well. He's a very powerful ally here. And we have an enemy who is definitely within sight. So we want to start this out with the Bulette. So we're going to move up a little bit. And the Bulette doesn't care if there's an anti-magic field or not. So again, we have Deadly Leap, and you can see that Deadly Leap is going to be able to take us all the way down to here. So we're going to wait for this hook horror to climb up here. Oh, it moved. Okay, so we're going to... Hopefully it comes back, and now we're going to Deadly Leap again. Okay. So that got us into combat with this hook horror here. It got initiative. Okay, so now you can see some of the options that we have for attacks from the Bulette. So we have a bite attack, and we have an acid phlegm attack. So this is the ranged attack, 14 meters with a 2 meter radius. and this is our melee attack. So we've got a 65% chance to land a bite attack here, and that bite attack you can see is 4d12 plus 4. So it hits very, very hard. And it's got the ability to push a target back by 1.5 meters. Now, in this case, that doesn't matter because it's up against a wall, but this might give us a straight out kill. Okay, so it caused 28 points of damage, but we don't have to be content with that. We can move. We have 11 hit points left. So we're going to split the group here, and we're going to bring Astarion up.
Just like old times.
Okay, and his sneak attack range, so that's a little bit too far. And you can see on the mini-map, we have additional hook horrors who are around. There's one up here. Looks like he's stuck. He's normally patrolling around here. There's also a third, which is back this direction, that is also patrolling. So we want to see if we can get a sneak attack ranged here, so we're just a little bit out of range. Okay, is the target obscured? Okay, so the target's obscured. That's why. So, our normal attack here, though, I can probably get him to a point where his vision is within range. Yeah, so see now because elves do have night vision, so now we should be able to end this here. Okay. So we're going to put Astarion back into hiding, because you can see we do have the detection cone here from this one. So the Bulette we're going to turn around and we're going to again put in hiding. And we're going to bring Astarion back up here.
Step carefully.
And see if we can get a shot. Okay, so it's too far there. It's going to be tricky. Okay, so it's still too far there. What we can do is try and maneuver him up here. I'd prefer not to do that, though. So we do not want to go up here yet. There's another encounter waiting for us up here. So, and I can't maneuver my way all the way up there. So, yeah, it's still too far to reach him. So I think we're going to, because it looks like he's glitched up here. You can see he's trying to move, but he's not able to. So it looks like he's glitched up here. Because like I say, normally he patrols along here. And you can get yourself in a position where you climb up here when his back is turned, and you can move all the way up here. You can see I can move all the way up here. And he won't be able to detect you when he comes back, and you can sneak attack him from up there. But we're not able to do that this time. So let's try and move down here. Actually, we're going to move a little slower than that. Because, like I say, there is a third hook horror out here. And you see this detection cone from this hook horror up here. He's going to be maneuvering around up here. Okay. So let's move Astarion up to here and see if... Okay, so we can get an attack here. It's at disadvantage because it's outside of normal range, but we have advantage from hiding. So let's see if we can get a sneak attack here.
Hello again.
Okay, so his hiding was successful. And yeah, he's still glitched up there. Okay, so we're going to go back into hiding. Okay, that one was a miss. Okay, so now he's dead. So we're going to go back into hiding here. And we're going to maneuver... Oop, he moved up too close. Okay, so now this hook horror down here is within range, and we still have this one up here maneuvering around. Okay, so we are going to bring our Bulette into combat here. We're going to maneuver him around to where he can execute a deadly leap here. Okay. So yeah, now we're in a good position here to be able to execute a deadly leap. Okay, so this looks like a good spot here. Alright, so that put him into the fight, and now let's bring everybody else in. So, we're going to bring Lae'zel in first.
Not one false move.
And again, we're going to be wary about this other hook horror that is up here. And you can see the other person. Filro is up here. Okay, so we want to be careful, and he patrols. He patrols around the area. So we want to be careful about maneuvering around on that side, because we don't necessarily want to aggro Filro yet if we don't have to. Okay, so the hook horror is knocked prone right now, and as such, its detection cone doesn't appear to be that. I mean, it doesn't appear to have a detection cone anymore when he's knocked prone. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but we'll see. We'll try and walk our way up there and see if we can get close enough for this attack. Okay, we can. And we want to make sure that we get around behind it so that we're not toward the cliff before we execute this attack. Okay. So that brought her into combat. This hook horror is down to 24 hit points now. So now we can bring Gale in here. And we're going to put Gale up on top. That keeps him, for the most part, out of range. However, the hook horrors have a leap attack, very similar to what the Bulette does. So they can jump incredibly long distances. So don't think that you're completely safe up here. You are not safe. It's just you are safer, so to speak. So up here than in other locations. So we're going to try and move Gale up here. And we're going to watch the patrol patterns here of both Filro and the Hook Horror and see if we run into any issues with that. And at the same time, we're going to move our Druid and Glut down here.
Oh, let's get this over with.
Okay, so it looks like the Hook Horror and Filro are focused on something over here. So I'm not too worried about them at this point. Okay, and it looks like Glut and Baelen are making their way down here just fine. So it doesn't look like I'm going to need to deal with those two here. So let's see if we can shoot off a magic missile here. So paths interrupted there. So it looks like we would have to move up a little bit more. Okay. So the Hook Horror is down to 10 hit points now, and it looks like we did get into combat with Filro and this Hook Horror. I did not want that to happen, but it is what it is. So now let's deal with those two as well. Thankfully, they are both looking the opposite direction, so we can get our Druid and Sovereign Glut involved here. And what I would like to do is get up here and cast a Thunder Wave. Okay, so I'd like to get right up behind the two of them, kind of off to the side a little bit. Okay, and see what my Thunder Wave can do here. So that's going to knock Filro all the way down there to the bottom. It's going to knock the Brazier with it, and it's going to knock the Hook Horror back a little bit too, if they don't pass their saving throws. So let's cast this at a level 2. And see what happens here. Okay, so there goes Filro. Knocked him all the way down to the bottom and took off a bunch of his hit points. He's now prone as well. The Hook Horror took 10 points of damage. And it looks like it brought Glut into the combat as well. So... okay, so with Astarion now, again, we have options here on how we want to deal with this, and I think the first thing that we want to do on Astarion's turn is take out this Hook Horror here. This is going to be the next one to attack before the Bulette does. So let's get rid of it so that it cannot get an attack. So 10 hit points. I guess let's just click heals here. Okay. And let's go ahead and hide.
Into the shadows.
And we're going to move him up a little bit. Trying to make sure of where I can move him. Let's just move him down here for now.
Let's go.
And see if his path is interrupted for his sneak attack. Okay, so he's going to walk this way, which is perfectly fine.
With pleasure.
Okay. So that ends him, and now we're going to continue moving up this way. Okay, we can end his turn. And now the Bulette is going to get a turn. And we want to move down toward Filro here. So let's move over here. Okay, so we do need 3 meters of movement speed to be able to do the attack. Let's see if we have any options. So the corrosive phlegm is not within range. There. And it looks like it's not able to hit here either. So he's not going to be able to do anything this turn. So now Filro's going to get up, and he's probably going to cast something like mirror image or mage armor or something like that. Okay, so he cast hypnotic pattern. That's not a problem. Now the hook horror is going to do a leap attack. Okay. You can see how dangerous hook horrors are because, again, that leap attack causes damage when it hits the ground, but then they also have a multi-attack that they can use when they're enraged, so it can get pretty harsh. But I don't think it's going to be much of an issue for us here. So let's move up here onto the high ground and just see if we can make a ranged attack. So we're going to go into hiding here. And we're going to do a sneak attack. Here. Okay. Caused a good amount of damage there. Okay, so, sorry, I was wondering, I was just looking at the character icons at the top and seeing who I was holding my action on and who I wasn't. So, we have 49 hit points left here. And Filro is now back up top here with only 7 hit points. So, I think we're just going to move Gale up.
Striking distance.
And crap, that was not great. Again, I said at the very beginning we need to be very careful about where we move around him, and then I moved him a meter too far. So now he can't cast any spells, but he also can't have any spells cast against him from Filro. So, but now he's just left with a ranged attack, and I would prefer not to do that, because now he's got about, well, it's almost 50-50 to get a kill here. Okay, so we did get the kill. So it worked out. That's just not how you wanted to do that. So, okay, so we're going to end his turn. And now for my Druid, I don't think we're going to have an issue killing the hook horror in this time. But we definitely want to make sure Lae'zel took a heck of a hit there. So we also want to make sure that nothing happens to her. So let's go ahead and cast Bless down here. Okay, and we'll cast a healing word on Lae'zel as well. That won't save her with only 8 hit points from an attack by the hook horror, but we'll see. So now Lae'zel can really cut loose here. So she has Bless, so she's got a 75% chance to hit. Okay, so that's 3 to 16. We can now do a Lacerate, I think, instead. Okay, so now it's down to 17. We can do a Pommel Strike that dazes it. We can do an Action Surge. And that is the power of a fighter, everyone. That is what happens when you have a pure fighter in your ranks. They just have the capability to deal out single target burst damage in a way that very few other characters outside of the barbarian can. it's really impressive to watch them work sometimes. So
There better be a soft bedrock.
so now let's go ahead and look around this encampment up here. And we're going to do that with the Astarion. Okay, and we're going to start by searching this gnome. Nothing here. And we're going to move up slowly throughout this area, and we're going to hold Alt while we do it. So there's a bottle, there's a crate here. Nothing. Pile of bones. Nothing. Okay, and as we slowly make our way in here, holding Alt, we do have some fish. We have some piles of books that doesn't look like we can search. We have a pouch here. Okay, we have a potato, cabbage, and some other camp supplies. We also have a tattered scroll. And you zoom in, I thought I knew where it was, but I don't know where it is. So we're going to pick it up using Alt. So on Astarion, we can now send these items to our camp. And we can read the scroll. So it's talking about magma, basically. That this book has been chewed up by one of the hook horrors, but it talks about lava and something like that. It's basically foreshadowing for what we're going to be running into a little bit later on in another area that we're going to venture to. So just looking around, doing some more searching, and we're going to go over here and we're going to search Filro. Okay, so a lot of scrolls. Mirror image, he normally casts that on himself at the start of combat. So I was a little surprised he didn't, but doesn't really matter. Okay, then we have an icy crystal. We're going to send that to our druid, and we have some scribbled notes. Inside here it talks more about the protector of the adamantine forge. From magma rose only in magma destroyed, hot hammer, where, and it draws a small X. And it says Dorn knows. Now Dorn was that drow that we killed earlier in the encounter with the spectator. And that kind of tells you what all was going on down here, why the drow came down here, and what they were searching for. It also gives you some clues about how to operate, or how the encounter at the Adamantine Forge works. And we're going to be dealing with that later on. Okay, just not right now. So now we're going to move ourselves around here. It looks like he's going to go down to go up. Okay, so he should be... Oh, he's climbing his way up here. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, and we can search this hook horror. Nothing there. And we want to make our way over here. Okay, and as we get closer to the tree here, you can see that there's Sussar Tree bark. There's an interactable spot here. So we want to pick that up.
I've got the plans and the Sussar bark. Now I need somewhere to craft it.
Okay, so we picked up a couple of entries for our journal. So first, we got Omelum's Ring of Mind Shielding. We got that last time, so we know what that's all about. We picked, when Glut came into our party, we got the Avenge Glut Circle. He wants us to help kill the Duergar. By picking up the Sussar bark, we have the ability to finish the Masterwork weapon. We are going to do that. We are just not going to do it while we still have Glut with us. Remember, Glut cannot leave the Underdark, and neither can the Bulette. So we're going to finish this as soon as we finish clearing out the Underdark here. And then we picked up the quest about the Adamantine Forge. And here it kind of tells you that. The forge is protected by a guardian who is weak to magma and some kind of hot hammer. And again, we're going to learn more about that as we get into another area of this map. So for now, we're going to bring everybody back down here. Okay, we've searched everything, we've picked up everything. And see, that's what I mean by the Bulette wanting to jump around. So now we need to take control of the Bulette. Since he jumped up there, we do not want him jumping back down. Because if he does, it's going to cause us problems. Okay. So we don't want him leaping anywhere near us. Okay. So now we can group everybody up and we can continue moving on. And hope that the Bulette doesn't jump on top of us as we're going here. Okay. So we're going to make our way this way. Okay, the Bulette's fine. And we're going to hold Alt as we go. Now this is another location up here where if you didn't encounter the Bulette earlier, you could encounter the Bulette here in this location. Okay. And you can see that we have a tombstone here. So we're going to toggle the group.
Action, not reaction.
And we might as well use her second wind here. And now we're going to use one of our short rests. Okay. So we're going to go up here with Astarion. So we can click on this tombstone.
Let's see here.
The rock under your feet juts upwards, forming a perfectly engraved tombstone with a small epitaph. In memory of Myrna, a shining light in this dark world, may you forever gaze upon the lake you loved to play in.
Okay. We learned about Myrna. Myrna was a pet of the denizen of the Arcane Tower, which is here you can see in the background. And if you dig up the grave here, which we can.
As you dig, you slowly expose the skeletal remains of a large dog wearing a chunky leather collar.
Okay.
A collar covered in runes.
So if you hold Alt, there's a dog collar here.
Remains of Lenore's beloved pet, it seems.
So yes, we learned that that was Lenore's pet dog. And if we look... Sorry, now we're going to have him cast guidance on Jorvalen and have her move up here. Okay, so her perception failed. We're going to move Jorvalen out of the way here real quick just so the Bulette moves.
Lost in thought.
And now Gale's going to move up here. Okay.
Keep your distance, darling.
Typical.
Miles.
And we'll move Lae'zel up here. Okay, we all failed it. There's a dirt mound over here. We just were not able to see. We're not able to see it. So, but we can open up and look, and you have a dog collar. and it's got runes in it. Now this dog collar, you notice we found a dog bed, right? With a bowl and a button. If somebody wears this dog collar and then they go up there and press the button, it will dispense a piece of steak. A really interesting kind of synergy in the game here. So it's basically an enchanted dog collar that whenever the dog wanted, it could press that button and dispense steak for itself. And that's basically what it was. It's just a very interesting interaction that you can have in the game here with that. So something just kind of cool. And again, we have a rogue's morsel which we can pick up. And we're going to make sure that we start opening up the map. And again, down here, you can see that we have a cluster of quest icons. So we have the hostile Duergar. This is Glut's quest. We have the Deep Gnome Prisoner. This is Tula's quest. And we have the Path to Moonrise Towers, which is our main quest. All clustered up down here in this area. So that's where we're going to go next. Okay, and again, we're going to kind of hold Alt as we maneuver around here. Make sure we open up all of the map as we're going. Okay. We know that there's a bullywug trumpet over here that we can pick up. There's a skeleton that we can search for a single solitary gold piece. And then we're going to continue making our way through here. Slowly, small movements at a time. And now you can see that we are now back where we started. Okay. This is right where we... Up here, you follow this back up as right where we took and went and branched off to go this way. So this is right back where we started, and now we have a way to get down here into the camp area. And at this point, we're going to put everybody into hiding, and we're going to slowly start to make our way down through here.
Have to keep going. The camp looks abandoned.
Okay, you can see that the Bulette is not moving. So, if you look, this is the other entrance in here that we talked about earlier, which has another path which leads around this way. So, we do not need to bring the Bulette in here right this second. Okay, we can leave the Bulette out there and bring him in later here in a second after we finish exploring some of this. So we're going to go over here around this corner, and you can see that we have a lot of camp supplies and that sort of stuff that we can pick up. Okay, and now out here we have this area. There's nothing out here that I have found in early access. So it's just a very interesting way to be led out here. I'm not entirely sure if there's a Misty Step route over here or something like that, but for now there's nothing that doesn't lead anywhere. And this is the way that leads you back up toward the Myconid colony here. And there's a couple, there's a Myconid and a Duergar that I don't know if we came down here and searched or not. Yeah, it doesn't look like we did. We don't need that. We can send that off to camp. And we did search that. Well, I believe we did. Let's just go check anyway and see. It's not going to take us about a second to get up here, so we didn't search it. and this Myconid, and this Duergar. Okay, and now you can see we're right at the entrance to the Myconid colony again. So you can come directly down here to this area before you get to the Myconid colony. It's just, you might as well pick up all the quests inside the Myconid colony and then make your way down here. Okay, so now we're going to move around this way. And slowly kind of make our way down here into the Decrepit village. Okay, now from here, again, there's nowhere to go out here, at least in early access anyway. You do have a Misty Step opportunity up here. This heavy chest, we're going to make our way over here. I don't remember this, actually, being here. So I wonder if we split the group. Can Gale cast... No, you cannot cast Misty Step on somebody else, but I think he has a scroll. He does. He's got 2 scrolls of Misty Step. Okay, so I'm going to send one of those over to Astarion.
Time to kill.
And see if he can Misty Step up there. Or not. So we should have an item with a scroll of Misty Step. And he can. Okay. Okay, well I know where I'm at. Did I not open this? Wow, that's a little strange that I didn't open this when I was here. I don't want to pick up the ribcage. So I know we have a book here. This is talking about Lolth and the drow that swear allegiance to her. So, yeah, I guess I just... maybe I didn't come down here? It's a little strange that I wouldn't have done that. Okay, but we definitely want to lockpick this chest. Okay, it's got a DC of 15. We have a bonus of 12, so let's add in guidance here. So that's going to be a pretty big roll. Roll of 30. You always like to see those 30 numbers.
A resupply stash. I wonder if Lolth's pets left anything good.
Yes, very interesting. So, I didn't want to send that to camp. So, the antidote. So, we picked up another basilisk oil. That's always good. We did pick up drow studded leather armor and a creased page, which we can read. So, again, just another letter to, or a request, basically, a prayer to Lolth asking for them to, or Lolth to benefit them. So what you picked up was drow studded leather armor. This is uncommon light armor. We're wearing the spider silk, an armor class of 12. It's got stealth +1 and an advantage on constitution saving throws. This is just stealth +1. So the spider silk armor is better in every way for what we have here. So we're going to sell it off when we get a chance, but it is one of the better light armors in the game. It's just we don't have a need for it. Okay. And now for Astarion, to get him back, we can take the Sussar Tree waypoint here. And we can just run him back.
Let's be quick.
It's not that long, not that far a distance to get him back where where the rest of the party is, so we'll just run him back real quick. I could have taken, if I'd have remembered where that was, I could have just had him fast travel back out of that area entirely, back to the Myconid colony, and then just walked over there. I was just unfamiliar as to that area because like I say, I'm still not entirely sure why we hadn't explored that area. It's a little strange. So, but now just as quick as that, he's back over here. We can put everybody in hiding again and continue on. So we have a couple of gnomes here. Some items that Gale's going to be able to sell. Okay, and we have the short sword of First Blood. Now, this is a really cool short sword. We're already wearing, or we have the Steel Forged short sword, which is a short sword +1 right now. The short sword of the First Blood is a short sword. It's not +1, so you can see the difference in the damage. It's 1d6 +5. This is 1d6 plus. Here we go. So 1d6 +5 and 1d6 +4. So you can see that it's not a +1 short sword. However, it has a bonus here called Break the Unbroken, and this is when the target is still at full health. If you attack with the sword, it does an additional 1d8 piercing damage. So it's a really nice short sword to have, and in this case, we're going to dual wield both of those. If we get into a situation where we need the additional strength, then we certainly will go back to dual wielding the Club of Hill Giant Strength. Right now, both of these are light finesse weapons, so we're using our dexterity as our attack and damage rolls. So dual wielding those is just going to give us a straight benefit. So now we're able to come up here to the edge, and we have a rope netting that we can use to climb down into this area. And we are not going to go that. We're not going to do that.
On my feet.
We're going to continue on around this way. Okay, we have another Bullywug trumpet we can pick up here. And, oh, we have a signpost we
The
can
names
interact
of
with.
Settlements are crossed out. Breachstone, Sinkhole, Salson, Lolth, Old Kell, Demons.
Interesting. So, tells you about some other settlements that used to be here in the Underdark that are no longer viable or no longer settled because of various things. A sinkhole overtook one of them and some other things like that. So, we're going to now make our way down this direction. And we're going to stop everybody right here. Oh, now the Bulette made its way through there. Okay. And we're going to break the group. Because down here, we're going to get into an encounter. And we want to be able to maneuver around here. So we're going to, as usual, start this off with the Bulette. And you're probably asking yourself why I'm not healing the Bulette. That will become apparent here in a second. But for now, what we want to see is, can we get the Bulette down here? Okay, and it looks like we can. We want a deadly leap right here onto the spot. Okay, so that was interesting. It didn't actually make it onto that spot. Okay, that's what we wanted to do. Okay, so there's an invisible Duergar sitting here at the edge. And there's a Duergar down here. There are also 2 more invisible Duergar that are around here and here. Okay, and you can see that they're invisible. Okay, so we wanted to start this off and trigger it with the Bulette. So now he caused a lot of damage to Lurgan, who is the one who is underneath him right now. Get Cole is down here. He maneuvered himself down into this area, but he's surprised. Everybody else is surprised as well. But now we get an opportunity with our Bulette to do a bite attack. And we're going to have him bite attack here Lurgan. And this is the other thing. If you can't target him directly, it says it can't target yourself. There probably is a little tiny section where you'd be able to target him, but you don't have to. You can just click right here on him. So it's going to be a 50% chance to hit, and if it hits, it's going to possibly knock him back 1.5 meters. Okay, and you can see it just ended him. Yeah, it just ended him. So we do have one of our other Duergars down here that's invisible. So we want to deadly leap down here if we can. Doesn't look like we can. Our path is... we can. Okay. He's going to take damage in going down there. Okay, but you can see that he caused some damage around him, but now he's down here in this area, and this is where we want him to be because of other things that are going to be coming up with him. So now we have the opportunity to get other people into combat here, also knowing that we have 2 invisible Duergar still out there. And again, one of them we know is down here, the other one is in here. Right? So what I want to do with Gale actually, I'm going to do it with Astarion. I'm going to move Astarion up here and see if he can pass his stealth checks maneuvering around here. Okay. So he did pass his stealth check there. Okay, so I think... Let's see where he's going to have to move to. To get a sneak attack on Get Cole. So we can do it from right here. Okay.
Make it hurt.
Alright, so that took almost half his hit points and gave him Bane. Okay. So now we're going to move up with Lae'zel, and Lae'zel's probably not going to be able to pass her checks. Her stealth checks here. But I don't think it matters as much. We're going to try and move her here, and now we're going to try and jump her into this room. Okay, so her hide failed, but she did not go into combat.
An efficient path.
Okay, so can she hide out here?
Its eyes
She can. And now we can try and use our... Okay, so see, you can see right here, I'd be moving around something here.
unheard, unseen.
Okay, see, I can't maneuver here. Oh, that's because there's a hole in the ground. Okay, but I'm behind something in here, possibly. So I'm looking around, just trying to use my movement guide to see if I can find what's in here, and I can't, which is fine. We'll have to wait for the next turn, or... thought he was out here. It doesn't look like he is, though. He might be down here also, but it doesn't matter. We'll maneuver her out here, and we'll leave her there for now. And Gale, we're going to keep out of the combat for now.
I want to think about why my eye is itching. Breathe deep and move.
But we are going to maneuver in here. Okay, so we passed the hide check there. We passed the hide check there. Okay, so now Glut failed his.
Let's turn someone inside out.
So he's now in combat.
What to do?
Our Druid, however, is not. So I think we are going to wild shape here. Okay, and that put us into combat now as well. So we're going to leave Gale and Lae'zel out of the fight right now. And we're going to end our Bulette's turn and let the two invisible drow reveal themselves. And I think I know what's going to happen here. Okay, so you saw where he was. So one of them is down here in this area. And the other one, I think, was up here in this corner. So we're going to move Glut. Yeah, we can. We can move Glut in here. And let Glut possibly absorb any attacks that are going to come in from this area. Okay, and now Get Cole is going to get a chance to work here. Okay. Now Get Cole is animated dead, which means he has brought all of these corpses back to life down here. And this is one of the reasons why we wanted the Bulette down here, is to be able to work with these things. But remember, Lae'zel is not in combat yet. So we're going to move her up here. We're going to have her go to work on Get Cole. Okay. So that put her in combat.
For the slaughter.
And now Astarian's turn. So he's not going to be able to hide there. He's within the detection cone, but he does have an 85% chance to hit here. So might as well use a piercing shot. Okay, they did 11 hit points. That's good stuff. And now we can move him back from the edge. So we're going to dash.
On my way.
We can maneuver him over here into this corner. Yes. Okay. Now the Bulette gets a chance, and now that we're in the middle of everybody here, okay, we can deadly leap to here. Okay, we can deadly leap to here. Yes, we know we're going to trigger attacks of opportunity, but I don't care. Okay, and there you can see the drow, or the Duergar that is invisible. Okay. So, now if we cast this corrosive phlegm here, this is now going to hit that prone drow that is invisible as well. Okay. So, that ends our turn down here, and now we can let these two invisible ones... Okay. So there he is. Okay, there's the other one. So I guess he did not get caught in... So let's move down here. We cannot get close enough, so let's move here first.
These boots have seen everything.
And see... Yes, we can jump down here. We can jump all the way down to here. So we'll probably take damage in our bear form doing that. But not a big deal. And now we can get a claw attack here on the novice. Okay, so now all the animated corpses are going to have their chance to attack. And now Lae'zel gets to end. Actually, so Sovereign Glut is here. If I hold my action, do I have enough movement? To get over here? I do. So we're going to move Glut up here, and we're going to do a multi-attack on Holvik. And look at that. 35 out of his 37 hit points. It's so powerful. And now we should be able to end things here. So we're going to get a regular attack off here. And you see that removed all of the animated corpses that he had raised. His spell disappears. And now we're going to move her back over here. And we should be able to do a pommel strike on Holvik. Okay. So his concentration on Hunter's Mark is now broken. So the Hunter's Mark down here on my Druid has gone away. And with our bonus attack... we can end it. Okay, that knocking them prone like that gives me an automatic crit. That's why you do it. Okay, so now we can end that. So now Astarian's turn. Astarian's going to dash. And we're going to move him down here.
Outmaneuver them.
The detection cone from Garmor here should be facing this direction, so we should be able to hide.
Ready or not?
And we should be able to get a sneak attack because he's got elevation.
Let's play.
Okay. A nice juicy 23. And now our Bulette should be able to get off a bite attack on Garmor. And that ends that. Okay. So, now we have Glut and the Bulette left. And you can see that we used to have 3 quest markers down here. We no longer have 3 quest markers.
Hello.
So we want to leave Astarion up here. We're going to bring Gale down here. And Gale never got into that combat. He just simply wasn't needed. We're going to bring Gale over here. And we're going to bring Lae'zel down here to the bottom.
One true way.
Okay, and we're going to kind of position her over here. Okay. Now,
These things have stayed
here...
interesting.
So, let's see. Glut is kind of trapped in this room for now until we use jump to get out. Okay, and you can see there's a quest marker on Glut. There's a reason for that, so we're going to bring Glut down here now. Okay, he's going to take the long way around and climb down this net. That's perfectly fine. Okay. We are going to cancel our wild shape.
Well, in it.
Alright, and we're just going to kind of move... yes. Then we're going to move ourselves back around this way here. Okay? So, now what we're going to do is with the detection cones where they are, we're going to put Astarion into hiding.
Just like old times.
And Gale into hiding. And we're going to move Lae'zel over here. And we're not going to put her in hiding. And now we are going to talk to Sovereign Glut and finish up Glut's quest. Now, the reason that I'm pre-positioning everybody, so to speak, is because of how this interaction is going to go. So, Lae'zel has a 14 dexterity. I have a 16 dexterity. So we've got some pretty good chances to roll high on our initiatives. And because I'm concerned about initiative, that should give you a hint. But Glut has no bonuses to his initiative check. And the Bulette does not either. So I'm hoping that we roll well in this initiative here. Now, I don't know if Glut can dismiss. He can't. And this is, I just wanted to make sure. He cannot dismiss that reanimated target. Just making sure that there's no... Yes, there's no option to dismiss him once he's been brought in. So let's go ahead. Actually, while we're here, I don't think this is going to matter. But we picked up the Icy Crystal, and we already had the Icy Helve. So let's send off these camp supplies here. And the Icy Crystal needs 3 items here you can see to combine. We've only got 2. Okay? But there is an opportunity here to combine these things together. We just need to get the other missing item. Okay? So, for now, let's talk to Sovereign Glut.
The tumor is excised. The Duergar are dead. Here I break ground. From the dark, your mighty circle rise. My song will fill the grotto. Death doer. The grotto may sustain but one sovereign. In the age of Glut, there may be no spore. Eliminate the other sovereign.
Okay, this is why I pre-positioned my characters. You have a choice to side with either Sovereign Spa or Sovereign Glut. There's no other option except to side or pick between those two. So if you choose to side with Glut, then you don't have to pre-position anybody because there's not going to be a fight here, but you're going to go back to the Myconid colony and you're going to try and kill Sovereign Spa, and that's going to lead to a huge combat back there in the colony. Here, I'm not going to. So that's why I'm positioning it, because I know I'm going to get into a combat here.
A fate it has earned. My circle long suffered while the Duergar flourished. I thanks for help, yet it cowered in the grotto and let my people be slaughtered. Choose, soul mind. Help me grow a mighty circle and reap the Lord, or protect the precious fortune as it waits for the circle of Glut to devour it whole. It is my right. It is my right.
Its delicate harmonies turn to scrapes and scratches.
Your corpse will birth my circle.
Okay, so he actually rolled first on initiative. Okay, so now it's my turn, and this is why I positioned my characters, because again, now I have to fight Glut and the Bulette, and this is another reason why I didn't heal the Bulette. I wanted the Bulette to take damage, so it would be much easier to kill, because if not, the Bulette can be a heck of an enemy to fight against. Okay? So now I still have Gale and Astarion who are not in combat. I was hoping to roll first, though. Unfortunately, I did not. So I am going to, I think, yes, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to Thunderwave here. And I might as well beef this up. Ah, great. Okay, so I'm going to take a hit here. It won't be a big hit, but it's still going to be a hit. And I'm going to move back out of the way. Actually, I can Wild Shape first. And that way when the hit comes, it's not against me. But we're going to maneuver back out of the way here. Oh, geez, I didn't expect to take an attack from the Bulette from that far away. Wow. Okay, didn't expect any of that. The Bulette has an attack range that's just massive. And now Gale's up here, and I can see how many I can catch in a fireball spell. Okay, so it looks like I can get all of them. So we're going to go ahead and cast this here and get Gale into combat. Okay, so that killed Glut right off the bat, got rid of its spawn, and now all we have to do is take care of the Bulette, and the Bulette's down to 22 hit points. Okay, so now we still have the Bulette's turn is coming up next.
Comes easy these days.
So we need to hope that Astarion can pull out a good one here. So let's see if he can get a sneak attack. Well, he's going to get a sneak attack. It's 9 to 31, and he needs to do 22 points of damage. Let's see if we can up that any. Okay, so he can't use these arrows with a sneak attack, so I think what we'll do is we'll get a sneak attack here, and we'll see how this goes.
Nice. Easy.
18. That was outstanding, so now he's got 4 hit points left, and now let's move down here. That put him into combat, so I can't move down there. Right. Okay, so now we are left with seeing if there's... Yeah, I don't have any other choices here. So let's see if the Bulette comes after me or goes after Lae'zel or decides to spit attack one of these two. But we'll see what happens. We've got to take one hit from the Bulette. Okay, so went after Lae'zel. That's perfectly fine. Now there's only a 30% chance to hit for Lae'zel here, because the target's obscured. So there's disadvantage here. I don't think it's a big deal because I've got a bunch of attacks coming up after this. Okay, so she did end up getting the kill anyway.
I think what creatures thrive in a lake this dismal?
Okay, so we brought everybody down here now. We're going to take another short rest. And now we can toggle the group apart and we can start going around and searching. So we can search the Bulette. Nothing there that we want to deal with. Got a basket here. There is a logbook. Just talks about the different types of stones that can be down here, but might as well pick that up and sell it. And we do have some deep gnomes here. And some camp supplies. And we'll just go through quickly here and pick up all of the useful items off of the dead Duergar here. So gold. Gale will be able to sell that ring, and then we have another gnome over here with nothing. So holding Alt, you can see there's some Lacolite over here that we want to pick up.
Forthwith.
Holding Alt again, you can see we can now move over this way and continue searching a few things. Okay, so here we have another deep gnome. And another. We'll actually send that to Lae'zel. Then we can search Glut. So Glut has a haste spore sack, which I believe, acts like a haste potion. The lump of myconid flesh you don't need for... There's no use for this in early access. That does not mean that there won't be a use of it for it later on. So it's something that you can send to your camp or do something like that. And then we do have some camp supplies. And the pacifying spore sac, again, I'm not sure if there's a bonus to using this. And the nightlight fronds we can send to camp. And then we have some scrolls that can all go to Gale. And then we can read the discarded journal. And this is talking about someone named Ironfoot. And what was happening here. So these are about the deep gnomes and what they're doing and that sort of stuff. So you're going to learn more about Myrna coming up. But for now, we can just pick up this journal. There's another Laculite over here we can pick up. And now holding Alt, we can continue to look around. Now there is a waypoint down here, which we have now discovered and opened up. You can see there's another Laculite over here. And coming back around this way, looks like that's it. We can search this.
Be satisfied.
Ah, yes. Okay, so we want to bring Astarion. Cast Guidance. And he can come over here. Okay, so we did find this satchel. And in it is a lot of gold. And an agate that Gale can sell.
Time to rest.
So now we can continue on with searching all of this area up here. So we do have a moss-covered stone, which you can move out of the way. There's nothing here, but you can use it to trigger other things, trigger combats and that sort of stuff. This Duergar antidote you can see is outlined in orange. This is the quest item for Tula's quest. So if you did not have an antidote on you when you first encountered Tula, this is where you get it. Okay, we don't need it. However, we can pick it up and use it just like any other item. Okay, we have the Exterminator's Axe. We'll send that to Lae'zel for now, and some blue cap, which we can send to our camp. Holding Alt, nothing else here. We can move into this room and search Holvik. Another heavy crossbow, which we can pick up and sell. The arrow of fire and the arrow of ice will go to, or arrow of lightning will go to Astarion. The dagger we'll just pick up, same with the armor. Now, looking through this room here, you can see that there are some items around here. Shovel if you need one, and some other stuff. However, there's also a faded logbook over here. And this again talks more about what the gnomes were doing. So it's talking about 2 potential mining sites, a vein of Arendar, and again, this was Burrow Warden Myrna. She was the one who was keeping all of this. Planning to take him out later along the Ebon Lake to practice. So she's talking about the expedition that the Deep Gnomes were doing here and kind of what the goals of it were. So now we're back up here on the top, and there's nothing else to... Oh, yes, there is. We're going to come over here to this side, to this, again, broken down house area. And making sure that we hold Alt as we go when we can search some of these baskets. Okay, we can come along to inside this house here. you can see that we have another diary up here. Okay, so this is property of Wolbrin. The author wonders if he'll ever see his friend Barkus again now that he's departed for the surface. We met Barkus, right? He was the one who was outside, strung up on the windmill. And you said that, and when we talked to Barkus, he said he had a friend who he was looking for who was down here in the Underdark. So again, another good connection to what we've already encountered in other areas here. So now we can make our way into this area out here. And we run into this area here, and you can see that we have 3 holes here.
The wall is riddled with holes. A suffocating stench of long rotten meat wafts out.
Okay, so he has a survival roll. There's no bonuses for it or anything like that. It's a 15 DC. We can see how well he does. Wow, we rolled a nat 20. That's outstanding. I should have brought my druid up here to do that.
You recognize the odor. The foul scent of carrion crawlers, centipede-like aberrations that feast on the dead. At one time, these caverns must have been their banquet hall. The creatures are either long gone or waiting patiently in the darkness.
Okay, so carrion crawlers are a very powerful entry in the regular tabletop D&D lore. They're really impressive aberrations or monsters that you run into. So I'm really anxious to see what might be here in the full version of the game.
The passage narrows and bends, becoming impassable before you're even elbow deep.
Okay, so nothing there.
Looks like I found a piece of bone. How riveting.
Okay, we received a bone. There's nothing special about that bone right now. Okay, so
Empty.
kind of interesting. I'm going to bring... I've never tried this. I'm going to bring Jorvalen up here. This is interesting. So here...
The wall is riddled with holes.
Okay, we already had this.
Suffocating stench.
Okay, so the passage narrows and twists. I wonder... Okay, so I can't interact with it when I'm in wild shape. I was just checking to see if it was the same thing, maybe like the hole that we went through, the pipe that we went through, inside the, or to get into the basement of the arcane tower. It does not appear to be. So now here, I'm going to jump across to this area here. Okay, and I did pass my perception check, so there's a gold necklace up here. You have to be up here to be able to pick that up.
One day I'll catch a break.
So that's why I jumped up here from there. So now I can bring Gale down here to the bottom. And I can bring both of them together, I guess. Okay, holding Alt as we go down here. And taking small movements again as we progress. Okay, so there we did perceive the dirt mound. And more arrows of lightning for Astarion. Now we'll continue moving this way, holding Alt. There's a Lacolite over here that we can pick up. Okay, there are also some blue cap.
To new horizons.
And we can continue out here onto this pier. There's some simple boots. There's also a half-eaten apple that's out here, but we do also have some camp supplies. Okay, there's a cup. There's a spoiled treacle tart, which is still worth 1, and the half-eaten apple is still worth 1. And we can search the crate. There are some simple boots that if you want to pick up, you can. There's just no real need to. Okay. And now we've finished over here. So we can make our way back up and head back to the top, and we're going to bring, or we can do some other searching down here. We've already searched most of this.
Tread carefully.
Okay, we can come along here and you can see that we can interact with the skiff. And there's a quest marker still on this. This leads us to the Deep Gnome Prisoners quest and also to the Path to Moonrise Towers quest. So this is what we're going to be utilizing coming up here in a little bit. But not this exact second. We do have some other things that we want to do here while we're in this area, so we're going to bring everybody back over here and get everybody grouped back up. Okay, so it shouldn't take that long. They're just making some climbs right now. Looks like they decided to come up behind us. Yep, they did. Again, the pathing is always interesting in this game.
With haste.
Okay, so we're going to take everybody back up the exact way we came. And the reason for that is because we want to head back to that area. Actually, we want to group everybody up.
Eager for battle. Never a dull moment.
Okay, why is Gale not with us?
Still alive, so that's progress.
Okay, and now we are going to do a quick save. And we're going to head back up on our minimap. You can now see that we've cleared out the entire Underdark area. We have a couple of quest markers that are still outstanding here. So this one, we know where this goes. And now we passed up a quest earlier, and that was about Baelen. We talked to Baelen's wife. So we know where, or you know, we got a quest to find Baelen, and that's what we're going to do here. And to do that, we're just going to take the Underdark Sussar Tree fast travel point. And we're going to continue back up this way around the Sussar Tree. Back up to this location. We're going to pick up the swarming toadstool when we're up here. And now you can see that we have some knotted roots here that we're going to make our way over to and come down. So let's come over here and let's actually drop down here. Okay, while we're here, we're going to pick up the Chasm Creeper, and we're going to let everybody climb back up and then climb back down the roots because, again, pathing in this game. Okay. So we're going to move everybody up here, and then we're going to break our group. Okay, now you can see out here that there's a quest marker right out here for Baelen. Now, there are a couple of different ways to do this, and I think I'm going to try this. So, we still have a scroll of Misty Step left. Okay. So we're going to split this in half, and one of these we're going to give to Lae'zel. And we're going to move in here with Lae'zel.
Quickly then.
Okay. Now, as we get closer here, you see Baelen is here inside of all of this Bibberbang. He's pretty hurt. Okay. So we know what Bibberbang does, and we don't want to get super close to it. But now you can also see there's a lit torch over here. Now we know what happens when Bibberbang spores get exposed to fire. There's a huge explosion. And what's going to happen here is that if we start shooting the Bibberbang and it starts releasing the spore clouds, those spore clouds are going to overlap this burning torch, and it's going to light the whole place on fire, and everything is going to go up in a huge explosion. So there's a couple of things in here we want to be able to deal with. First, we don't want to kill Baelen, but also there's a Noblestalk, and you can see it's an orange quest item. We definitely don't want that to get destroyed. And then we have a whole area over here that has a bunch of lost candles and chasm creepers and other stuff in it over here that we don't want to get destroyed either. So we're going to take this very slowly and carefully. But first we're going to move up here. We put this...
Stop! Bibberbang!
You recognize the name. Bibberbang, a mushroom that releases dangerous spores. Highly flammable.
Okay, now we recognize what's happening here, but the nature check just confirms it. And remember, we did transfer a scroll of Misty Step to Lae'zel here to see if we can approach this a different way. I'm not entirely sure if we can or not, but we'll see.
I know that. Scroll. Escape. My bag, please. I've dropped it somewhere.
Okay, so this is why we gave a scroll of Misty Step to her. He wants you to find his bag. Inside his bag is a scroll of Misty Step that he can use to get out of this area. However, we already have one on us, so we're just going to hold that up and see if we can get it to him.
Yes! Yes!
Okay, so now I've got a strength check. Okay, so I can try and throw it to him right now if I pass this strength check. And this is the other reason that I gave it to Lae'zel to do, is because she's going to get a +4 to her strength bonus in trying to do it this way. Okay, it's only a DC of 10. She has a +4 from her strength. We could add another +1 with the Elixir of Hill Giant Strength, but there's no real need. So we'll see what happens here.
I'm fine. I just have to... And then... Here! Ah! Right, as... What were you saying? I was looking for... Dereth. She'll be worried sick. I must... need to go. For you. Your trouble. Ta.
Okay, so he gives us a scroll of invisibility for our efforts, but that's not the only thing that we want to do in here. We've rescued him, and we got an inspiration out of it, which is always good. But there are other things that we want to look into, and the problem starting off with is that torch. Okay, now we can deal with that torch in
Now,
a couple of different ways. So, looking at Gale, he has the Rain Dancer on him, so he can use it to create water. He's just got to get close enough to be able to do it. We also have...
All right. What now?
We also have the create water spell on our Druid. Okay, now the issue that we're going to have is Gale has a strength of 9, which is a -1 to his ability check, and also how far he can jump. But Jorvalen has a 10, not huge, but again, not extraordinary either. But we're going to utilize her to do this. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is jump up here. And we want to keep as far away from the Bibberbangs as we can. Okay, so now we can make our way all the way over here to this corner. And jump over to here. Now we can make our way to this corner. And now we can create water on top of this torch. That puts the torch out. And now we can start shooting
This breeds madness.
the Bibberbang, because if they release their spores now, doesn't matter. Okay?
At least things are
So
still interesting.
that's what we're going to go ahead and do. We're going to start using our ranged attack, and you can see we can get quite a few of these. So we're going to get as many of these as we can and get them all started so that their timers can run out. Okay. And you want to make sure you get all of them. It looks like they've taken the cloud timer down. It's no longer 30 turns in here. Yeah, it looks like these is much shorter. Up top it was 30 turns for this. Down here it doesn't. It used to be in previous patches. Okay, now it's 30 turns. Yeah. So something was happening with that. Every time you knock another one of these out, it resets the timer. So that's why you want to get as many of them as you can. Or you want to make sure you get all of them, because if you miss one, it's going to, as soon as you click it, it's going to reset that 30 turn timer. And you want to make sure before you click that you're not trying to move down or something onto a lower level to shoot it. So be careful when you click that you're not moving yourself into some area. Okay, so we can't shoot that one. Oh, we did. It was just delayed. Okay, and we're just going to knock all these out. Kind of one hidden in here. The easiest way to find them is to move your camera around. The fumes will change their perspective, but you can see the Bibberbang moving below the fumes. They're much easier to see if you move your camera around. Okay, so we're just going to, again, continue knocking these out here. Okay, so it doesn't look like I have any more in here. There's Baelen's pack. He said he was missing that. And we should be getting just about to the limits of what we can shoot. Yep.
Another day, another fight.
So again, we're still being careful before we shoot. You can see I'm having to move a little bit up there to make these attacks, but that's perfectly fine as long as it's not trying to move me down onto a lower ground here. That's perfectly fine. That additional height is giving us additional range on our attacks as well. Okay, so it looks like we got all those, so now we can change to Lae'zel here.
Crave blood. An efficient path.
She can move up to here, and we can start using her to do ranged attacks as well. And we want to continue this on. We don't want this timer is going to keep resetting. So let's just keep knocking out as many of them as we can, and then we'll let that timer run down after we've gotten as many as we can possibly reach. You're not going to be able to reach all of them, but you'll be able to reach a lot of them. And again, with Lae'zel, you want to be especially careful because she can move. It will try and move her into the Biberbang cloud to be able to reach these in certain instances. So you definitely don't want that to happen. So it looks like we're all clear down here. So now again, keeping an eye on her, we can see if we can reach any of these. And see, it's going to try and move her into the cloud to attack these. So that's about all we can do from here.
No one back home will ever believe this. Wonder if the gods are watching me.
And you can jump down into this little corner over here. But there's nothing that we can reach from here. See, it's going to try and move her into the cloud to make that attack. So now you just sit here and you wait out the nauseous fumes. You do not want to light these on fire because it's going to destroy the Noblestalk. And again, that's a quest item that we don't know what exactly it's for yet, but we want to wait it out. Now that means some of this Biberbang we're going to have to kill. We're going to have to move farther in here and then wait another 30 turns for it because we can't walk past it to get to the Noblestalk. But that's fine. We can move around over here and take care of all this sort of stuff while this is timing out and while it's clearing itself out once we get in there. So it's just a little patience, not a big deal. So you just got to be slightly patient in here, and we'll be able to get everything that we need.
I crave blood.
Okay, so we did pick up the arrows of lightning here. We picked up the Exterminator's axe, and while we're waiting for this, we can look at this. The Exterminator's axe is kind of like the Light of Creation, in that it is a weapon that is very specific toward a type of enemy that you may encounter. And I'm just clearing up a couple of scrolls here. So like the Vision of the Absolute, you get a bunch of additional damage against creatures that have multiple sets of eyes. With the Light of Creation, you get additional damage against constructs, or against anybody, but you really only want to use it against constructs to avoid the stun mechanic. The Exterminator's axe gives you 1d6 fire damage against plants, insects, or small creatures. Okay, so it's a great weapon to have on you because, again, it is a 1d12 item for her, which is just the same, or which is not the same. The 2d6 has one point of additional minimum damage, so it's 7 to 20 versus 6 to 20. However, instead of 1d4 fire damage all the time, you can do 1d6 fire damage against plants, insects, or small creatures. So a good weapon to have that if you know you're going to go into an encounter against any of those creatures, that you can equip this and gain additional damage over just your Everburn blade. Same thing with the Vision of the Absolute and the Light of Creation. You can change her weapons out to get additional damage based upon things that you might be specifically encountering in the game. And now you can see that we've cleared out the area in here. So we're going to move up here, and we're going to group everybody back up, and we're going to immediately start, we're going to stay back, and we're going to immediately start triggering these. We want this timer started as quickly as we can so that it can run out as quick as it can. So just a little target practice. Again, she's going to be moving slightly closer as we do this, so keep her in view over here so that you can make sure you don't wander in too far. That's not going to be the case here. They're all within enough range that you're not going to have to get that close. But again, just good practice to do. And again, all the light green little areas. And that, moving my camera around, looks like that's it. Okay, so now we can take the opportunity to search what's around here, and again, there's Baelen's pack. So now in here, you used one scroll of Misty Step. There's actually two in here waiting for you, with a scroll of Featherfall and a bunch of camp supplies. So that one scroll of Misty Step that you're going to use to give him, you actually gain one overall. So now we can head around this way, skirting around all of this. Holding Alt, there's a Chasm Creeper here. Now you can see there's just a bunch of Lulz candles that we can pick up. And I don't know why I'm doing this with her. She's not going to be the one to sell these. But, oh well, I can open it up and transfer them to Gale very easily. We have some other items that we want to transfer over to Gale as well. That needs to go to the camp. And so does this. These blue cap can go to the camp, as well as some of these other items that we picked up from the pier. Okay. And that should be it. Okay, so now we've got another 17 turns here. We'll just wait it out and we'll go in and we'll pick up the Noblestalk, and then we're going to immediately head back to the Myconid colony and complete a couple of quests. So we did defeat the Duergar intruders. We just need to report that back to Sovereign Spa. We completed the Avenge Glut Circle quest by refusing to kill Sovereign Spa and instead killing Glut. And we did find Baelen, so now we need to go talk to Dareth. Okay, so we completed a few there. We're just going to finish them up when we actually get back to the colony over there. So we will complete this here, and then we will fast travel over there and finish those quests up. Then, now that we no longer have Sovereign Glut with us, we were actually going to head out of the Underdark, and we're going to complete the craft the Masterwork weapon quest. Since we have all of those items, we're going to go over there and we're going to finish that out. So just a little bit longer here. From there, we will have cleared out the Underdark. You'll see that we don't have anything left. These are the Sovereign Spa is going to complete that quest. Dareth is going to complete that quest. We have not completed Tula's quest yet. We have to go to the Duergar encampment to complete that. And this leads us back up to the top for the Githyanki Kresh quest. And again, the tea house. We're going to go to the forge here in a second. You don't have to take that particular way to get out there. So yeah, that's kind of where we are right now. We've opened up all of the stuff down here. So let's go pick up the Noblestalk. Okay. That's interesting. I don't remember there being a
Careful.
perception check
Right.
down here.
My
Action, not reaction.
I don't know why Astarion got a perception check. There, it was kind of a weird perception check too. It kind
Long
of
road ahead.
stuck around a little bit longer and looked like it was kind of bugged out. So I don't know why there's a perception check there, but we're going to head back to the Myconid colony. Okay. First thing we're going to do...
Fungus and mold
Whoop.
glaze the grotesque creature's face and body. It doesn't seem to notice you.
That's what happens when you click on one of the spore servants. So Tula's obviously still down there waiting for us. Let's go talk to Sovereign Spa.
I need a quick word.
It greets you with a harrowing elegy, chillless as the new moon. You are one with Spore. Your throat tightens, then relaxes. The air is serene, your mind untroubled.
And I sense only silence from the Duergar hunters. The rot is cleansed. The souls now carry your spirit. You should now be called Kin Spirit. You aid us in good faith. In good faith. I thank you. The guardian gate is open. Go and claim your reward. But before this, I have another boon to ask of you. You have cut out the Duergar light, but not its source.
In your mind's eye, Spore shows you a drow striding among Myconid dead.
This one is called. He hunted us. Hunted in turn. Bring me his head, and I will know my circle is safe.
I'm more than happy to kill this whoever he is, but tell me there's something in it for us.
Okay. So we're going to do it.
I ask a boon, and will give one in return. The drow lurks in the ruins beyond the lake. Bring him death and return.
Okay. So we gained another inspiration, so I'm almost positive that we're back all the way up to 4 inspirations now. Oh no, we only have 3. I forgot. We did use all of them dealing with that roll
Raising
up
the
there.
dead is easier than capturing slaves. The drow in Menza Branson could learn something. Yes, it does sound invigorating, doesn't it?
Okay, so now we're going to head down here, and we have a quest marker down here on our mini-map for the Sovereign's Refuge. Okay, and that's right here.
How long have you been down here? Think, Baelen, think!
So we're going to head inside here. And this is the reward that Sovereign Spa
That
promised
drow
us.
town might have bits of magic lingering inside it. Any thoughts, Gale?
Drow magic radiates from it. drows are masters of magic.
Okay, so it looks like we found another item that Gale can use as part of his affliction. Okay, so we don't need any of the rotten items. So we can head up here and check this backpack, or these burlap sacks and backpacks and that sort of stuff up here. Don't need the rotten chicken eggs. We have some camp supplies and some more scrolls. Okay, so we do have some more camp supplies and some mushrooms here. The Scroll of Blindness, and we'll have Gale start picking up some of this. Scroll of Ray of Sickness. The Shadow of Menzo Baranzan. We're actually going to pick up with Astarion.
Still breathing.
And then we can search the Drought Corpse here. Okay, we have a book here entitled Flumph Mating Rituals.
The cover proudly announces this book to be Flumph Mating Rituals.
Okay, now we have some checks here that we can use, and it looks like investigation and nature checks that are based around intelligence. So I'm going to put it away for now. I'm actually going to have Gale read it. So now we picked up the icy metal. Okay, so now we're going to have Gale
Excellent choice.
search this. He's going to read this book.
The cover proudly announces this book to be Flumph Mating Rituals.
Okay, so now he has an investigation proficiency, so he's getting +4 from, and another +3 from his proficiency. So he could get advantage on this. I think we're just going to use the +7 here from investigation. We can also add to that with guidance. So now he's got 8 to 11 out of a 15 DC. We rolled a nat 20 earlier, so yep. I was just about to say, well, I did say it. We rolled a nat 20 earlier, which means we are bound to have our first nat 1 of the playthrough, and there it is. That's exactly how Dungeons and Dragons works. So we'll use one of our new inspirations to roll that again. That's classic. Okay, so it's going to be close. We got it. That is exactly how Dungeons and Dragons works.
The scrutiny proves too much. The lurid text melts away before your eyes. An illusion. What remains are simple instructions written in a spare hand. The secret to forging adamantine.
Okay, so this talks about the operation of the Great Forge. We're going to get into this area a little bit later in the live stream series. It's probably not going to be next week's live stream. There's so much content to be had in the Duergar encampment that is probably going to be the week after that. But this gives you specific instructions on how to operate the adamantine forge. It tells you that you need raw mithril ore and you need molds. You place them into their respective chambers, you pull the lever to lower the hammer, and then you open the valve to allow lava into the crucible and drop the hammer again. So it gives you step-by-step instructions on how to use the forge. We've also learned from the books that we just picked up a little bit earlier in the live stream that using that hammer and that lava can damage the guardian who is also guarding this forge. So using this in conjunction with that kind of tells you how to deal with the penultimate encounter in early access, which is Grim, who is the guardian of the adamantine forge. So that's always the last thing that we deal with in our live streams. If you want to see what that encounter's like, please feel free to go through either the Ranger or the Barbarian gameplay series, which are uploaded on the channel, and you'll see kind of how it works. But this is step-by-step instructions to kind of work your way through that, how to use the forge during that encounter. So we will pick that up for now. And now looking at our journal, welcome to the stream, by the way. I hope you you learned some about the early access of Baldur's Gate 3, and if you have any questions, feel free to type them in, and we'll answer them as we go. So, defeat the Duergar intruders. We found after we turned this into Sovereign Spa, this is ending that quest, but Sovereign Spa also gave us a new quest, in that they want us to kill Nier, and we're going to run into Nier as Spa said, across the lake in his encampment. And that's going to be the focus of next week's live stream, is working our way through the Duergar encampment. By reading that book, we also picked up notes about the adamantine forge that gets added to the quest, where we learned about how the Guardian is weak to magma and some kind of hammer. So Gale also says that the weave in the shadow of Menzoberranzan is enough for him to use to help stave off his ailment. And speaking of the Shroud of Menzoberranzan is a very powerful item. That's why we gave it to Astarion, because it allows you to have the Shrouded in Shadow class action. Basically, once per long rest, you can become invisible for 2 turns. So for Astarion, that's incredibly valuable. Being able to move throughout the battlefield while you're invisible, and to get yourself into and out of tight spots in combat is just incredibly useful. Now, he's wearing the haste helm right now, and that's giving him momentum for 3 turns whenever combat starts. Momentum's incredibly useful for him, again, to be able to move around the battlefield. So we changed that out for the boots of speed a little bit ago. He was wearing the spring step boots. So now, without having a way to get momentum, and again, the spring step boots give you the click heels action, which is basically allowing you to have haste, or doubling your movement speed, your dashing, as well as being able to get away from opportunity attacks. Now I think we're going to trade those back out for the spring step boots, and we're going to give him the Shadow of Menzoberranzan helm. Now you can see now his outfit is pretty well, drowed up here, so to speak. And now we can look at, is there anybody else who can use the haste helm? Well, there isn't right now. The Helmet of Grit is a much better option for Lae'zel. When she gets below 50% of her hit points, she gains an additional bonus action, which is huge for a pure fighter. So there isn't really a use for the haste helm now, but we're going to keep it on Astarion for now, just in case we need to get that momentum in certain types of encounters. We will. Same thing for the boots of speed. It's just another good item to have. Now, Mistress Grace here on Gale, these boots of speed are just boots, they're clothing, so Gale could wear them in place of Featherfall. So he also has Featherfall scrolls, so, it might be a good idea just to trade these out.
Bibberbeck. Of course, it was Bibberbeck.
And put those here. So now he has the ability to dash and avoid attacks of opportunity if the situation arises, because, again, of him being in a difficult situation because someone has moved up next to him or something like that, he can use this to try and get away from them, possibly, or something like that. So I think that's a good use of those boots and that helmet. So I think that kind of gets us back to where we want to be right now. But remember, the Shadow of Menzoberranzan Gale can use that to help stave off his affliction. We just don't need to at this point in time. So, holding Alt, looking around in here, there's nothing else that we need.
At the ready.
So we will walk back out and we will talk to Dareth out here and complete this quest as well.
Look at that. Got my useless old man back. I suppose that's your doing. His hands are empty as a hole. We'll have to send him back out soon enough. Please, Baelen's got a job to do. We can leave when he's done it. Collecting Noblestalk. Valuable mushroom. We've a shop in Baldur's Gate. The locals go mad for it. Nearly nothing it can't cure. Blindness, poison, hair loss.
Okay, we picked up the Noblestalk, so now we can give it to her and complete this quest.
Ah. To no surprise of mine, you're more competent than Baelen. Go on then. Hand it over.
Okay, so we have some options here with this. So we can give it to her. We can also keep it for herself. But we can also ask her what's she going to do with it.
Sell it. What else? Worth more than its weight in gold to folk back in Baldur's Gate. There ain't much it can't cure. Loads. But I haven't got anything to offer for it. I'm counting on the shroom for that. Give it or don't.
Okay, so you can intimidate her and try and get a reward here, but I'm just going to give it to her.
Thanking you. I'll be on my way then. Look, I do thank you. Come visit me in Baldur's Gate if you find yourself that way. I run a shop called Bone Cloaks. Baelen nearly sunk the shop to pay for a drink, when he was of his own mind. This might allow me to hang on a little longer. You take care out here.
Okay, so as part of it, you get a choice between a couple of gloves that she's going to give you. So we can spend a second here and inspect these. So first, you get the gloves of fire resistance. Fairly straightforward. When the wearer has 50% of their hit points or less, they have fire resistance. So if you're dealing with fire enemies, which there are going to be a few of, even here finishing up through early access, if you get hit and you're below 50% hit points, then any fire attacks you only take half damage from. So can be very useful. We also have the gloves of flint and steel, which gives you hot little hands, which is whenever you deal fire damage, the target has to succeed on a Constitution saving throw or they start burning. Now, this is fire damage from any source, and remember that includes spells as well as like the Everburn blade that Lae'zel is currently wearing. Now, here, if we show inventory, I'm not sure if we can change. We can. Okay, so she's wearing the sparkle hands right now, and that's basically giving her a +1 to strength and dexterity checks whenever she has lightning charges, and she's getting lightning charges from the speedy light feat whenever she may dash. We don't use this combination very often, so having her being able to cause even more damage by swapping these out for the gloves of flint and steel could be very beneficial. So I think that's the way that we're going to go this time around. So speaking of that, we can remove the sparkle hands and put the gloves of flint and steel on. So now whenever she does damage with the Everburn blade, they're also going to have to succeed against a Constitution saving throw, or they're going to start burning. And burning, it doesn't tell you what it is, but you take damage over time from the burning effect. Okay, so now changing out the sparkle hands means that we don't necessarily need the speedy light feat as much either. So in that case, we can put the line breaker boots back on. So now we have a couple of options here to be able to give somebody lightning charges and to use them however they're medium armor based. And the only people who are proficient at medium armor are myself and Lae'zel.
Of course, it was Bibble.
Now, this might be useful on some of the party members who are not currently with us, you know, such as Shadowheart or something like that. But for right now, the only people who can utilize them are myself and comparing the boots of striding means that right now, whenever I have a concentration spell out, I gain momentum. But however, the more important thing is that when I have a concentration spell going, I cannot be pushed. So that puts me in a position where I can cast a concentration spell like Bless or something like that and be completely immune from being pushed off of a cliff or being pushed off of a high place and taking fall damage. So that's a huge benefit in the game that has so much verticality in it. My gloves give me the Herbalist Touch, which is if I heal somebody else who's poisoned, then they're no longer poisoned after I just cast a normal healing spell on them, which can be very beneficial as well for being able to unpoison somebody from a distance just by using Healing Word or something like that on them. So it's something that I can swap both of those out for both of these and gain access to lightning charges and that sort of stuff. I just don't know as if we're in that type of arena right now that we would need to utilize these. But they're a great combo, so it's something that in the full version of the game, you may be sent to camp just so you can keep them. Okay? So now that we're here, we can also clear out some of our
We'll
inventory.
be clearing out soon enough. No point in lingering now I've got the Noblestalk.
Okay, so let's go ahead and clear out some of the items that we have here. So Gale just has a lot of items that he can sell, and remember, Dareth always has a lot of gold on her, and she has these same items that we were talking about previously, that we've sold the Skybreaker and the Helm of Autonomy back to her. She also has some other good items in here to be able to utilize. So Gale is actually proficient in the short bow +1. The light crossbow is 1d8 +3 for Gale. This is 1d6 +4, so it's actually less damage than the... it's 4 to 11 versus 5 to 10. So the short bow gives you one more possible minimum, but one less possible maximum, whereas the light crossbow is the highest damage that we can get. But it says he's not proficient for some reason. Let's check that real quick.
Have I got everything then?
Is Gale not proficient in that? Yeah, he's proficient in it.
We'll have to be more watchful next time.
I believe. Yeah, he's proficient in light crossbows. He's not proficient in short bows.
We'll be clearing out
That's
soon
why
enough.
it was giving him
No
that
point in lingering
message.
Now I've got the Noblestalk.
Okay, so let's go back to Gale, and we're just going to have him sell off all of these items that we're carrying around that we no longer need. And again, we're all hoping for some sort of shift-click methodology in the new game. But until then, we'll just kind of muddle our way through. We don't need the basic poisons either. So the Drow studded leather armor, we already talked about this. We don't need it during our playthrough. We're not going to use it. It doesn't give us any bonuses. The Circlet of Fire we're going to be keeping, just as if we know we're going to get into a fight where our fire spells are going to be a big deal, especially Fireball. We could use this to good effect. We're going to keep the Rain Dancer, obviously. Don't want to get rid of that. Mistress Grace we're obviously going to keep. And Chimera's Locket, we swapped that out for the Psychic Spark, but we're going to keep that on us just to get Dancing Lights to have available. So the haste spore sack we're going to keep on us for the haste ability. There's nothing in here that we want to get rid of. So in here, again, nothing else that we want to get rid of. We can probably split these and sell and get rid of some of the alchemist fires. We don't need them that much. And nothing in here that we want to be getting rid of. So that looks like all we're going to be utilizing. So now we can go into our inventory and do what we were looking at previously, and that's deal with these icy metal items that we have here. So let's go to combine. We're going to add in the icy crystal. We're going to add in the icy helve, and now that allows us to combine. And that gives us Morning Frost. Now, Morning Frost is a really interesting quarterstaff in that, very much like some of the other items that we have, the Morning Frost gives you a bonus when you cast a certain type of spell or cantrip. So here with the Heart of Ice, whenever we cast a spell or cantrip on an enemy, you inflict frostbite. Now I don't know if we can hover over frostbite. Yes. A frostbitten creature that takes cold damage will take an additional 1 cold damage per turn. So in other words, frostbite only takes effect, or it takes effect whenever we cast a spell or cantrip on an enemy, but it only does additional damage if you then use cold damage against that enemy. Okay? So Morning Frost would allow you to inflict frostbite, but then you have to follow that up with cold damage of some sort. Now we do have a scroll of Ray of Frost. We do not have any cold spells equipped or prepared. However, we do have the option to, let's go through this again and go through the scrolls we have. So we can buy Blur and Featherfall, Mirror Image, and Ray of Sickness. We can spend some gold and learn all those. And now our prepared spells, if we look through them, you can see that we do not have any cold spells in here. So we don't have an option right now to cast any cold damage on anybody to really utilize Morning Frost. Okay? So there isn't really an option for us to get a good use out of Morning Frost right now, compared to what the Staff of Crones does with being able to cast Ray of Sickness all the time, and the Staff of Arcane Blessing allowing us to cast Bless all of the time. Morning Frost isn't something that we can get a use out of. However, it is certainly a powerful item, and you don't want to get rid of it. So we'll send it off to camp. And again, in early access, you're not going to be able to use it, but in the full version, it's something you would definitely send to camp. Okay, we're just going to clear out some of these other items here.
That's that then.
And I think this is going to get us all cleaned back up. Okay, I think he's got some gold on him. He does. So we can move that over here. Whoops.
This'll do wonders for the shop.
I really don't like how this thing scrolls from time to time. It's very, very strange. Okay, so I think that gets our inventories pretty well cleaned up here. So now if we look at our map, you can see that we've knocked out the quest markers around this area. We have the Githyanki Creche, which is not in early access. The Tea House just has a quest marker that leads you to the Moonrise Towers, which is not in early access. True Soul Near and the Deep Gnome Prisoners we're going to be dealing with next week. Well, I guess we'll do it at the end of this week. But for now, we want to head to the Forge here. And the Forge is actually inside the Blighted Village. So that's where we're going to go now. Okay. Across the street over here, down inside the basement of this building, you can see we have a quest marker now on our map.
Never wanted the easy path.
Okay, and here's the forge that we want to interact with. And this is for the Forge the Masterwork weapon quest. Here in our book. We needed Sussar bark. That was our missing ingredient. So you have to do this in a specific order. So first you need to light the forge. Okay, oh, it says it's already burning. The rendering is not correct. So make sure, normally you have to click on the forge to light it. You have to use the bellows to get it really burning. Okay, and then you can click on the forge and you can add an item in here. So the first thing that you need to add is not on him or on her, it's here. You're going to put the Sussar bark in the forge.
The bark is in place.
Oh, okay, you're not going to put it in there first.
Dagger or sickle.
You're going to put the greatsword in there first. No, you're not. I know, that was right. You add the Sussar bark first. Ooh, boy, this thing is glitching out a little bit. Okay, so yeah, the flames are glowing blue now. Okay, so that's what happens when you add the Sussar bark. Yes, and the Sussar bark is no longer in his inventory. So that's the correct way to do it.
Still alive.
Okay, once it's glowing blue, then you can interact with it, and you can add... Now, the greatsword, I haven't tried this with the reinforced greatsword. Okay, but it says you can combine it. Okay, so you can't combine it. Okay, so I was hoping that I could use the reinforced greatsword, which is just a different icon. It just looks different to craft this, but it doesn't look like I can. I have to use a greatsword, a just regular greatsword to do it. So for that, we're going to head back to Sylvanas' Grove and pick up one that we've sold, and we will just sell them the reinforced greatsword. We no longer need to keep it. Hey, Reinmar, thanks for joining the stream. I appreciate you showing up. Sorry, I was a bit busy going through some explanations there and wondering why things were working and not working. So, but welcome to the stream. So we're going to head down here and talk to Aaron real quick, and we should be able to buy a regular greatsword. I know we've sold some to him.
So it's true. You scattered the goblins. Peace can finally return to this corner of the sword. Of course.
Okay, and here's one right down here. So we're going to sell off the reinforced greatsword. We no longer need it. And we're going to buy this one. Okay.
May you keep balance.
I know. It's coming up really quickly. I was talking about that in the admin notes at the beginning, how much we're looking forward to it. And Larian is certainly releasing a lot of information for us. The trailer and then the new video exploring the 3 different areas of Baldur's Gate, the city itself, so we can kind of see what we're in store for. It's really going to be fun to see. So now we're going to head back to the Blighted Village, now that we have our greatsword, and head back in here.
Here we go.
And go to the forge again. So just to catch everybody up again, like I said in the admin notes, if you haven't seen it yet, Larian did release a new video showing a character walking through the actual city of Baldur's Gate and exploring the 3 different areas, the upper city, the lower city, and the outer city, which are all based in the Forgotten Realms lore of tabletop Dungeons & Dragons. It's very impressive to go look at it. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. So now here we can
Blackets will be done.
put a regular greatsword in here. Now it said in the notes for this that you could use a sickle, a greatsword, or a long sword, I think. I can't remember. We're going to use the greatsword because of what this gives us here when we combine this.
The roaring furnace awaits an offering. A candy-sweet scent wafts forth. The Sussar bark infuses the weapon from within the flames. The flames sputter away. The sword is complete.
Okay. Yeah, something must be bugged about this in the new
Indolence breeds madness.
in the new patch. I'm looking to see. Yes, here it is. So you get the Sussar Greatsword. Now it's a regular greatsword, which is 2d6. For Lae'zel, it's also a +1 weapon, so it's now 2d6 +5 instead of 2d6 +4, like the Everburn blade is. It does not have the 1d4 fire damage, obviously, which means it's a lower total base damage than the Everburn blade. However, you can see that it silences a target on hit. It casts the silence spell. They can't speak, they can't cast spells with a verbal component, and they're immune to thunder damage, which, again, can be a downside to it. But this allows Lae'zel to attack a spellcaster and silence them when she hits them, and basically taking them out of the fight. So it's a great weapon to keep in storage on her, just like these others. So now if you get into a fight with a spellcaster, you can use the Sussar Greatsword to attack them with and basically eliminate their huge damaging spells from the fight. So that's why I chose the Greatsword, is so that Lae'zel can wield it as we go along here. So
Never mind.
now that we've completed everything up here, we can head back to the Underdark beach. Okay, and this is right where we ended up. And we can head over here to the double-hulled skiff. Now, actually, while I'm here, I'm going to take a long rest. Forgot about this. We definitely want to get everything back and everybody rested up before we head over to where we're going. So we can go through and see if anybody has any conversations real quick.
To talk.
Well met.
Okay, so nothing for Will. Gale does, so let's go talk to him.
I say again, as I have said before, I need an object of power to consume. We have one already, and there's no time for delays.
Okay, so in this case, we're definitely going to give him one, and we're carrying around a few things. So we're carrying the Sword of Justice specifically to be able to give him this. So we're going to give him the Sword of Justice to start. The other items are very useful. If we have to give them up, we will, but the Sword of Justice we're not using, and we're carrying it just for this purpose.
Thank you. Gods, it's like a draught of cool water soothing a parched throat. Welcome and wonderful. There was a lot of magic in this artifact. Can't quite remember a time I felt so peaceful inside. It's good to perceive this constant fear repressed into a quiet scare. Let's hope it will last a good long while. And I'm impressed once more by your benevolence. I say that with great sincerity. Mere days have passed since our first acquaintance, but you've gained the respect of years. As such, I do not wish to give you false hope. We are only treating the symptoms, not the cause. That said, this newfound calm I'm experiencing gives me reason to accept without prejudice a certain degree of, optimism. Time is a precious gift. With time, we may even reach Baldur's Gate, a city rife with magic, wizards, scholars, and perhaps solutions. And here's to your company. Oh, I can picture it now. Academies, libraries, laboratories, the assembled knowledge of centuries that may just set us free. Better yet, soft beds, home-cooked meals, and all the other little luxuries this wilderness so brashly denies us. Gods, I'd pay a king's ransom for a hot, lavender-scented bath. Minstrels serenading as I close my eyes, and let the water's warmth dissolve all woes. Plenty to look forward to.
Okay, so let's talk to Shadowheart.
Shah's blessings upon you.
Okay, nothing new here. We can talk to Astarion.
My favorite traveler.
See how cool he looks? Okay, this is all the same stuff. Now we can talk to Lae'zel.
Speak quickly.
And nothing else here. Okay, so in our inventory, there are some camp supplies, and it looks like it's this spore sack and the haste spore sack. Yes, so we're going to be keeping those. So let's go to our traveler's chest and get 40 camp supplies here. So we are also going to pick up this gold here. So we've got 3, 4, 10, 16, 22, 28, 34, 40. Do we have anything with 10? We do. And we'll split that, and that should be 40.
Cursed to put my hands on everything.
Okay, so we'll auto-select, and if it does select these... did I miscount somewhere in there? I must have. Because I don't need the baguette. $18, $24, $30. Oh, I must have miscalculated. Must have miscounted. Yeah, that's what happens when an engineer tries to do simple math, I guess. Anyway, our full rest. Okay, and now I will go in to remove this and send it back to camp. Okay, so now here we're going to do a quick save. And we're going to jump on the skiff here.
A vessel wobbles on the lake's murky waters.
Elf, what are you doing on Gek's raft? Where's Gek? Who are you?
Okay, so we have some options here about how to do this. So in our previous playthrough, we persuaded him to come with us, to let us go. And we have some options here for how we want to go about and do this. We're going to reach out to the parasite here But you can just start this off with you know, a check and just attack him, or try and push him into the water, which again is going to start an attack. But we said we were going to use the parasite as much as we could in this playthrough, so let's try and do that here.
Your parasite stirs briefly, then goes still. The Duergar is not infected.
Okay, so it doesn't work on him. So now we have the options, and here I think we're... Well, let's see. I'll open it up. Does anybody on the stream have a preference on which way we go? We either try and intimidate our way through, or bluff our way through, or persuade, or just start a fight. So I think I know which way I'm leaning, but let's see. Okay, I think we're just going to try a persuasion here. Okay, it's a DC of 10. And we passed.
All right. No reason to get your tongue in a twist. Well, come on. Let's get you to shore. You'll need to report to the sergeant. You lot, keep patrolling. I'm heading back with this one.
You continue forward in silence until the lights of a camp twinkle through the murk.
Sideways. We've got a welcoming party.
You shithead! Time you showed up, we got trouble.
Spit it out! Sergeant finally choked on True Soul Near's prick.
Drugno! The twat soul caused a rockfall. Trapped tighter than a ring on a fat finger.
You're shitting me. You pay up?
That's the trouble. He's got the gold on him. Sergeant's arm is falling off with all the gnome slaves she's been beating. Who's the hoon, Greyman? Another slave for the dig?
I am Lae'zel, daughter of Gith, defender of Vlaakith. And I am no slave.
Oh, that one's feisty. Thrin's gonna knock the snot right out of her. That's so.
You feel the slightest of stirrings in your head. The Duergar is not infected, yet your minds resonate.
I'll be... You ain't shitting. Felt the tingle. Your twat-soul chum owes us a load of coin. You want through? Make a donation. Unclog your hole. Just shitting around. But I'm warning you. That twat-soul ain't settled up soon. There'll be hell to pay for the lot of you cult buggers.
Okay, so a couple of different ways you can play that. The first is that you can get into a fight out there. However, you are fighting on the two skiffs. And it's very easy for them, and they love doing it, to use a pushing attack to push you into the water. And if they push you into the water, your character just instantly dies. So it can be a complicated combat out there if you don't roll well on initiatives or you have some sort of crowd control to help keep them from getting into position to be able to do that. The other thing is, it's fairly easy, like you saw here, to be able to get your way into this area without getting into a fight. And in that case, everything else that's around you remains non-hostile. So it's, like I say, it's not, you can fight your way through, and during the Ranger gameplay we did, so you can go look at that and see what the fight looks like if you'd like. But here is just an easier way to make our way through it. And we're going to be seeing some of these characters again when we get through making our way around the Grimforge area here. So that is the area that we were in. We found the waypoint for the Grimforge, so now it is locked in our fast travel. So if we need to move back and forth between the previous areas in here, we certainly can. So we're not locked into this area. We can fast travel back and forth. You can click on the skiff and go back, utilizing that as well. So you're not locked into this area when you get here. But for this, the Grimforge, looking at our map, you only see a tiny portion of it. There is, we have quest markers way down here. The Grimforge actually extends quite a bit up here as well. It's a very large playable area. So it's going to take us a while to get through it. I don't know if we're going to get through all of it next week during the live stream. We're certainly going to try. But there, like I said, there's a lot to explore here in this area. And there are multiple ways to go about some of the encounters here in this area. So I think with that, what we're going to do is we're going to definitely get us a new save here. And we're going to call this stream to an end, and we'll pick up right here next week. So again, I'd like to thank everyone for joining me today. Without your support, none of this would be possible. So this is Commander Jorval saying, until next time, fare thee well.